First, he saved us from the Adesanya cringe, you know, for a little bit at least.
When you argue with a fool, those who are watching can't tell who's who.
Brother.
And now he saved UFC's cursed light heavyweight division with one of, if not the coldest moment in the division's history that even had Adesanya in the crowd like.
I manifested this.
Oh, my bad. That was the wrong clip. I actually meant, it was actually this one. I'm sorry. I'm a hater. I know I am, but I'm sorry. That clip is so funny. It's just his fucking face. And to think if he just never mentioned Pereira in that one interview years ago, then none of this would have happened, and he wouldn't be sitting there devastated. I'm sorry. That is so funny. But anyway, the division that couldn't get a champion to defend the belt since, you know, Jones defended it against his wife, Reyes. Sorry, I remember Reyes.
We've got a possible TV call, professional MMA fighter, Jonathan Jones.
Well, besides for Blachowicz that defended it against a middleweight, I guess, which was Adesanya, but, you know, who's keeping score?
Trilogy. I don't keep score. I settle them.
Constant injuries and belt switching. We finally have a champion that can actually defend it against someone in the division. No matter how crazy their abs may have been on fight week.
Look at that. You see a little 4-pack in there?
Yeah. The little abs. How to bust out a little abs for y'all, man.
First, Reyes gets robbed, then Jones vacates the belt, and then Blachowicz literally kicks the shit out of Reyes to win it. Defends it with an easy win against Adesanya, you know, whatever, and then loses it to a 42-year-old man. Jiří Procházka then going into war with said 42-year-old man to become champion, then has to vacate it due to injury. Jiří has to pull out the rematch with Glover, so therefore, obviously, we get the matchup of Blachowicz versus Ankalaev, which obviously ends in a draw, which then gives us a new fresh matchup of Hill versus Glover, where Hill beats the fucking shit out of a 43-year-old man. I think he was 43 at that point. I don't know. He's probably 50. And then, unfortunately, the curse strikes once again, and Hill is injured, unfortunately, via basketball. And thankfully for us, having Adesanya, you know, settling the score with Pereira by making their rivalry 3-1 to Pereira because, you know, that's how maths works. Refusing to giving him a trilogy fight, Pereira probably said, F it, why not just stop draining all this water out of his skull and win the bigger and better belt anyway? Which, as we know, he loves taking everything Adesanya's ever dreamed and worked for, so kind of funny, I guess. So with Adesanya then gatekeeping his belt from what could have been a legendary trilogy with Pereira, instead decided to get completely embarrassed online and on stage.
Why are you recording yourself touching up your dog like that?
I'm not f***ing my dog off, swearing allegiance to China. Are you proud of who you are?
And schooled by Sean Strickland, and now just crying that fans only booed him because, you know, they're racist.
Were you shocked at the reception for him in Australia? Nah, they're racist.
Having to sit there in shame while Pereira gets the spotlight and absolutely cooking at light heavyweight. To be honest, I can actually see why Adesanya kind of hates them. So after speedrunning his way to middleweight champion, it was now time to speedrun his way to light heavyweight champion, which would only take him 7 months from the moment that was probably the worst day of Adesanya haters' lives. Starting off with his light heavyweight debut against Blachowicz, which luckily for Pereira was saying that he was going to test out his striking.
I am a stand-up fighter, and I like fighting stand-up. So I have to check my stand-up against someone like Pereira.
By shooting for the legs 8 seconds into the first round. I mean, he'll willingly outstrike Adesanya for every round, but Pereira...
No.
You see, that's smart because obviously he left-hooked his way to the middleweight title. So I'm sure this division isn't stupid enough to just stand with him and expose themselves to those left hooks. Not like Blachowicz, Islam Makhachev or anything, but Pereira did survive an entire round with him on his back to then win the following 2 rounds. Maybe not the best start to Pereira's title run. Looked a little flabby, but, you know, I mean, he's getting started. He's cooking. He was cooking. And to be fair, with it being at Salt Lake City, I mean, they did look like they were about to go into cardiac arrest, so you can't really blame them. 4 months later, it looked like 2 final bosses were about to fight for the most cursed belt in the UFC, and with one cursed light heavyweight champion defeated, on to another. Maybe a little bit of an early stoppage, sure, but, I mean... doesn't really sound as cool when you mention that part, so. Plus, Jiří Procházka did respectfully mention how he was out of the fight, and after seeing Pereira's brutal ground and pound for 300, I think the stoppage was fine, which, who even cares at this point? I don't even know why I'm talking about this bit. And just like that, another speed run is complete. I should really do something with my own life. From being flatlined to them becoming champion of the bigger division within 7 months, there's only one thing left to do and defend it and break the curse once and for all. And who better to do that against than...
Adesanya, come true daddy.
You talking about Israel Adesanya?
to come to light heavyweight. Now, Jamal Hill is here. He will be next for you. Give us your thoughts on that.
I mean, that could have been fun, but obviously Adesanya's just fully committed to being the I beat that guy one time meme that he made himself.
That's all good. I mean, it's like, what does it come to, daddy? It's like, nigga, last time I checked, you were fucking slept.
Last time that I
Shut the fuck up.
And of course, Joe Rogan had to stand on business for his friends by protecting Adesanya and getting Hill back into the title picture, which is fair enough, don't get me wrong, but what I don't get is Hill teaming up with Adesanya as if it didn't take him 4 attempts just to get one win. I mean, it definitely rubbed off, you know, Adesanya's bitterness towards him, I will say.
You know, just getting acquainted with the visual that I plan on seeing on Saturday night. Ain't nothing to talk about, ain't nothing to say. It's all right here and I'm on your ass.
Because I understand fighting, I understand every style. I've trained in every style and I've mastered every style.
I've seen that he's not on my level.
He not like y'all think he is. I'm like that. He's not like that.
It's not close, and I can't wait to get in there tomorrow and show that.
I have to put a severe ass whooping on him just for the simple fact of the disrespect of how y'all are coming at me.
He's just going to shama him. How can you not shama Jamal Hill when he's throwing punches like that?
There is a glaring weakness in Jamal Hill's game. He is very open on the feet to a left hook.
Like, sometimes defensively, your hands are lower than the 2 fists on your chest.
He got caught a lot by Glover at 42 years old, who doesn't hit nearly the same as Alex Pereira does. Even left hooks were catching Jamal Hill on the chin, idly, just from the open, without any real big setup.
Wide open, sit in duck mode, ready to get hit by a left hook, and his opponents are not Alex Pereira.
And I'm seeing openings for that left hook on the backup for Alex Pereira.
I do not plan on taking him down. I do not plan on wrestling him. I plan on going in there in where y'all think he's just this otherworldly guy because he did kickboxing and I didn't do kickboxing.
I don't get if it's because of the Pereira fanboys or something, but bro don't even speak English like that. I don't get why these guys get so annoyed by him. And to get annoyed at fans for picking him and hyping him up as if he didn't just become a 2-division champion and half his resume is against champions.
And whenever I do fight him, standing, I will knock him out. And when I do, I'm going to rub it in every single one of y'all face. Every single one of y'all that has talked, disrespected.
You've been doing that shit for like 2 hours. Bang, you're dead.
I'm one of the top 1 or 2 in the world. I'm truly the best. That's why I say I'm the king, because I know I'm the best in this weight division. So I'm the best in the world at my job.
Most of y'all ain't even, you can't even, when you ain't like employee of the month, some shit like that in a factory of a few hundred people, and you beat your chest, and you feel special, you feel walk around like you hold some type of ground. Just understand that if you can shit on or try to spit on what I've done in this sport of MMA, make sure you never feel good about anything you do in your life, because nothing you do in your life can never compare to what the fuck I've done. Like, to be honest with you, it cannot compare to the things that I've done and the things that I've accomplished in my life. I've made more money in the last 3 years than most people will in their entire life, them and their kids included.
What's up? Okay, all jokes aside, Hill's a cool guy. You got to give him that. You know, he's probably messing around a bit. I get that championship level fighters are obviously more talented and fans, you know, can be dickheads. Maybe I'm a dickhead. Who knows? Who cares? But if fans are pointing out that your footwork doesn't look the best, to say the least, and that you're open to a left hook, which is Pereira's best move, maybe don't take it as hate and disrespect and maybe take something from it. Or you can listen to people like Bisping that have also won a belt say how you have more knockout power than Pereira because you knocked out Johnny Walker one time.
I think Jamal Hill might naturally hit harder.
I agree. As far as just pure punching power, 100%.
In my opinion, I think Jamal Hill matches him in the power.
You know, my argument is I've seen one guy get knocked out. I have not seen the other guy get knocked out.
All 3 of us just picked a basketball player to be the kickboxer. I mean, this has really never happened.
He's had a lot of stunning knockouts. Thiago Santos, the one against Johnny Walker.
Oh, that one was so crazy, dude.
Oh,
I mean, the gust of wind in the background can knock out Johnny Walker. Who hasn't knocked out Johnny Walker? Like, having to be as accomplished as a fighter to be able to say things doesn't really make much sense. I mean, your coaches wouldn't be able to say shit. Other fighters couldn't say shit. And Anthony Smith wouldn't have a job at the desk and the pay-per-views. Even Demetrius Johnson's just straight up laughing in his face. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but he's laughing at the idea of standing up with him to strike with him.
My perspective, what you're saying, you're telling me is that you're gonna go in there intelligently, you're gonna put him where he's the weakest at, and basically make it easy, make it look real easy. Do you think that's credited to your...
I'm not talking about even just, I'm talking about striking.
Oh, you're gonna knock him out?
Yeah, bro.
And I don't really get going to the guy that took 4 attempts to beat Pereira one time and then put the controller down.
Hey, the son now. Come to daddy.
Meanwhile, you got MMA YouTubers like Lucas Tracy, who is literally ranked the lowest at predicting fights on YouTube, predicting this fight perfectly.
Fuck, dude. I'm like, am I last? 57.
And I'm not trying to say fighters should just listen to fans' advice. That would be insane.
Keep him low, Mike. There you go. Keep him low into mount.
Man, Guru is better than my coach, my brother.
But when they're pointing this out and this out, if you don't take it as hate, then maybe this and this wouldn't happen. And to be clear, I'm a Hill fan, but I just don't understand being so heated in the build-up to a guy that doesn't even speak English and has no emotions on his face for like 95% of the time. But at least it makes for a more exciting build-up all the way to UFC 300, where the curse would finally be broken, and not just the light heavyweight curse, but also the Drake curse. And I'm not gonna lie, when I'm seeing Drake drop 600k on Pereira, I'm getting worried. And with UFC 300 pulling out the retro graphics, Pereira's custom-made shorts, and Hill listening to Adesanya instead of our GOAT Lucas Tracy, I knew this man was about to cook. With just 3 minutes into the fight and one gentle dick kick later, all this man had to say was, hang on, let me cook. Didn't even want to turn his head to look at Herb Dean, maybe due to his balls being ruptured. I don't know. Who knows what that kick did? Maybe even causing the blood from his balls to rush into that left hand, landing that left hook, and breaking the curse once and for all.
To the rest of you, the non-believers, you guys make me sick to my stomach, fam.
Perhaps in the coolest way possible, and still getting one up over Adesanya by outdoing his Cabby Lame collab by hitting his own emotes. Adesanya even in the crowd getting blinded by Pereira's aura, and all he can see is this. So to conclude, it's been a fun little journey watching this division since Jones vacated the belt. We've managed to get 5 completely new champions in that time, and just 1 John Jones fight. So with the 6 men involved in this curse, 3 were defeated, 1 was his bestie that he avenged. I don't know how every fight is like a glorified movie plot for this man. Looks like Ankalaev will be the last one left and up next. Who's also been saying he'll strike with Pereira and knock him out. Maybe he means the same type of striking that Blachowicz had planned, or that Hill had planned. Or maybe he is the guy to stand with Pereira and knock him out. But, you know, God, I hope not. Also, there is Reyes left, which, you know, I don't think that fight's ever going to happen. That wouldn't make any sense. And even if it did, all jokes aside, I honestly think Pereira would be done for murder.
Sign up to my boy's YouTube channel. That is JG2. And for those who don't, you can do me a favor and you can bend the knee to King Triple C2.